Welcome to the TMZ of Philadelphia Eagles, where negative shit is always going on. And for another video that, if you're a positive Eagle fan and don't want to listen to any of these, definitely click out of the video because, guys, it is not getting any better when it comes to Eagles news. We kind of had our press conference with Nick Sirianni yesterday, and I wanted to get this video out a little earlier yesterday, but didn't have the time, had to work on some other things. But now, since I have the time, we're going to go over the press conference and be really not surprised over what was said. And this is a do or die week, or this is a crucial week for the Eagles. So let's get into it.
We better turn. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yeah, what is going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a great week. I hope everyone's trying to have a great week. I hope everyone's trying to have some optimism that, we're optimistic on this team really has to turn it around. I mean, really has to, because if they don't, this will be one of the most probably biggest crumbles I've seen in a while with this team. And I think it's roster, but I think it's ownership, and I think it's too much control with Nick. And Nick had a lot to say at his press conference the other day. Kind of want to bring up some tweets that I think are pretty important. And I want to bring up BrianJohnson. If BrianJohnson is going to stay with the Eagles. And Nick just looks so great. Nick looked like he was tired. Nick looked like he was needing a little nap. I don't know what was going on. But Nick Sirianni says that he is not considering any changes in Eagles coaching responsibilities and confirmed BrianJohnson will remain the offensive play caller. Guys, it's already to the point now where, you're given a top 2, top 3 offense on paper to an underachieved head coach that should never be play calling, because from what we heard from Dave Spadaro last week answering the fans, that Dave Spadaro says that the plan revolves around Nick Sirianni's game plan, and kind of the coordinators kind of give him more information adding to the game plan. And it's just the continuance of Nick's game plan with coordinators going around him, and then BrianJohnson taking out these orders is not working at all. This press conference really didn't do much for me, because the more I'm going to talk right now, the more it's going to be disappointing. And at the end, we're kind of going to give our thoughts. Secondly, Nick Sirianni talked about his confidence in Sean Desai. God, it just doesn't end. So Nick's like, another great picture. Nick says he has total confidence in Sean Desai. Total confidence. That's why I hired him for the job. I told you guys, Nick wanted Jonathan Gannon's system in Philadelphia this year, and he hired Sean Desai. That's why I hired him for the job. Really, what it is, yards pile up when you give up third downs. We got to coach him better. We got to put him in better spots, break it down better. This is a team sport. To single one person out is not the right move here. This is just a scheme problem with players that literally can't handle out what you want for this defense as a off-ball type defense. There is no reason to pay cornerbacks. There is no reason to draft defensive linemen, especially 2 defensive tackles in the first round, because you're totally defeating the purpose of, you're not aggressive this year. Sean Desai says he wanted offenses to feel this defense, and it's going to be violent, and we're going to be hitting quarterbacks, and we're going to be nasty. And no, I mean, that's far from what we want here. I'm not saying Nick has to throw anybody under the bus, but he's got to say, hey, we need to make some changes. This is not working. If I at least heard that, I'd feel a little bit better. his confidence in Sean Desai. I understand, like, Nick probably doesn't want to throw players under the bus, doesn't want to throw coaches under the bus. Okay, so I get that. I get that in the sense of you don't want to do that because that makes it a lot worse. And I understand that. But at least say that we have problems. Nick, we have major problems. This isn't a problem of play calling. This isn't just a problem of coordinators not carrying out their job for their players to be successful. This is a culture damaged environment now. This is what it is. Culture damaged. The nucleus of your team is damaged, and players are starting to speak out. Okay, which gets into my next conversation of Nick talking about Derek Gunn's comments. Okay, and I know a lot of people were complaining about Derek Gunn. Why is he even around? Why is he, what's going on with Derek? Derek Gunn doesn't even work for Keep Sports anymore. It doesn't even work for the company anymore. Like, why is Derek Gunn have so much information on this team? And, quite frankly, he was here for a lot of years. And quite frankly, he knows a lot of players personally, okay, and was in the locker room. And he has access to do whatever he wants. Knows Brandon Graham well. I don't really know who else he's really close to that much. We saw that players after that game against the Dallas Cowboys, a wide receiver, an anonymous wide receiver said this play calling was too productive. Same or different players said that, why do the Cowboys run quicker routes? Why do our routes for the Philadelphia Eagles take our routes so long to develop? Josh Sweat had a lot of shit to say about the defense is not playing as a team, that it's a total mess, that the season is slipping away to our fingertips right now. It wouldn't surprise me if A.J. Brown's the one. If you're talking about wide receiver routes, it wouldn't shock me if A.J. Brown is the one that has been talking a lot of shit. And that's perfectly fine. I'd rather have players speak up because when they're anonymous, that's just the start to this whole situation. It will go from anonymous, and then once a new coach is hired, then the players will start to come out, or whatever the case may happen, and how they're going to make changes here, whether it's not this year or this offseason, next offseason. Then players will start to come out and names will start to transpire, and, we'll hear the full truth of it. So Nick said, talked about Derek Gunn's report of the Eagles anonymously complaining the offense predictable. Nick says, we obviously don't think so as coaches. We're going to continue to work on the offense. We'll work crazy on it. We're going to look at everything in our self-scout to make sure we are not predictable. They need a veteran coach. Like, this is not a veteran coordinator. They need someone to take control. Like, they can't afford to do this. This isn't good. That's not even a good statement at all. I guess a good statement is, hey, we'll work on it. But we said that, Nick said that last week before Dallas. He said that they were going to change some things going into the Dallas game. What did they fucking change? What did they change that made anything else that different? I honestly don't know. I'm seriously trying to figure out, like, how are these coaches so brain dead right now that for weeks and weeks and weeks, the Eagles have not played a full 4-quarter productive, not saying perfect, but at least almost a productive full game of football. And because you were winning those games, it was slid under the sheets, okay? It was slipped over. That no one really put too much attention towards it. We're winning this way. We are winning this way, so who cares after losing to the Jets? Who cares if we don't have been playing good first halves of football games? But now it has caught up to you because now teams are recognizing what the Eagles are doing offensively. If we're just talking offense right now. It's not like you have a bad offensive line or, you had both your starting wide receivers out all season. Like, I get it. Like, then I could get it a lot more than why the offense is struggling so much. Jalen Hurts looks like a robot out there. Looks like when he has command, I do like how Jalen Hurts will audible different plays and kind of take certain play calls into his own attention a little bit and kind of exploit that, where Hurts has done that and has been successful. But I think the scheme is hurting Jalen Hurts. It's hurting the rest of this team. And to be honest with you, like, even the pass protection isn't even that bad. It's pretty damn good at times where you're running play action and you're not running enough RPOs, and your creativity in game plan and getting guys open, your hot route, where's the slant pass? Why aren't we using the middle of the field? Why aren't we using too much speed? Why are the wide receiver threes not involved? Why is Julio Jones signed? Why is Rashad Penny signed? And why are you just not playing him? Just get rid of him. Waste of a roster spot. You know, there's so many different things. Like, and Nick just still thinks that there is a chance. I'm not saying that if they fire a coordinator, things are going to get better. Okay? Because the Bears fired their defensive coordinator. Buffalo fired one of their coordinators. And they played significantly well. But this team is different because this is really crucial for Nick Sirianni. Because if the Eagles lose against Seattle, and if they are a one and done in the playoffs, Nick is gone. Nick is going to be gone. And Howie Roseman is going to have to sit and be like, okay, we need to change some things. And we need to change our style of what we do here. You know, Nick hiring his own coaching staff, Nick hiring the same, you know, and having the same scheme as last year and having the same this. And there's got to be more creativity towards this offense. It's just not enough. There's already been an example of Nick having his game plan analytically in 2021 where we were a pass-happy offense. You know, I don't care if we still made the playoffs. We made a wild card game in 21 and got absolutely destroyed. So at the end of the day, like, Nick's game plan, whether BrianJohnson holds the keys to it all or not, I really want to grab. And I see a lot of guys do it. There's teams that use analytics, but do teams make adjustments? Yes. Do teams have more plays in their back pocket? Yes. I don't see a creation of, like, multiple types of plays where I'm like, whoa, BrianJohnson, Nick Sirianni, holy shit, that was a great play. Didn't see that happening. We haven't done that all year. That's awesome. You see a couple of those plays every few games. You're like, oh, you know, BrianJohnson took something out of his back pocket in the second half. Looks really good, you know, but then you really don't see that. Bubble screen, inside zone, you know, just a standard, like, three-step drop and short pass under the sticks. I mean, so lame, so boring, so these wide receivers deserve better, okay? There's talent in this offense. There is a million times % of talent in this offense. The question is not the talent. The question is not really a question. We know it's a coaching issue. So I don't know where the end of the jackass, where the jackass starts to where the jackass ends, because I don't know who starts with this whole thing. What is approved? If we've been playing this bad every first half and not playing a full 4 quarters of football, and hopefully, you know, maybe because we were winning, nothing was said, but now we've been losing the past couple weeks, not just losing, but your offense came and scored a fucking touchdown the last couple weeks. I mean, literally. Barely that. Barely that. And it's not good. It's really, really not good. If Howie Roseman says, okay, we need to hire some new blood, they got to hire some new blood. Howie Roseman just needs to worry about the roster. I understand he doesn't want to get into another Chip Kelly situation. I understand that, but this is different. You know, this is, Nick can be like, hey, we want to see what is the best scheme fit and for coach, coordinator-wise for this team, offensively and defensively. Okay? I think Denard Wilson should have got a shot. I think Deuce Staley should have had a shot when he was here and always got passed up on it. I think, you know, Frank Reich comes, and yes, we used analytics in the past. The 2 years Frank was here in 2016 and 2017 when Carson Wentz was the quarterback, we used analytics, okay? But we always made adjustments. We are not making any adjustments at all. I mean, we were promised changes last game for the Dallas game. I mean, and so far, when you don't make changes and everything looks the same and vanilla and bland, your players are going to start to give up. And Derek Gunn says the players seem to be uninterested in what you're doing. The defense is easy to fix because Desai just has to go. Because Can he run an aggressive defense? What are you changing this week with the defense? A whole new playbook? Seriously. Any veteran offensive coordinator could come up with plays and could have their own offense, and I never see that. And if Nick has his hands all over this playbook, it's a problem. And Nick having his coaches back, I guess I respect that, but at the same time, like, people are only saying we're 10-3. Oh, we're only 10-3, but you're not getting first seed now. And if you don't win out, you're not getting second seed. You know, we're questioning, could the Eagles actually beat the Giants? I mean, it's really that bad now. It's that bad. There's so much no heart, no pushback. These guys have no energy to care about what the Eagles' game plan is every week. The players are starting to be, like Derek Gunn said, uninterested, and they just don't want to be bothered by it anymore. And this is what Nick is going to say. Nick's going to say all this shit, the total opposite of what we really need to hear. I'm not saying like, oh yeah, we're going to fire our offense. No, I'm not expecting Nick to say it. All I'm expecting Nick to say is we need to make a turnaround of changes coming next week. Our lives are on the line for an NFL game that could be, you know, this is one of the most important games of the year. Like something like that, you know, that I would feel a little bit better. But they would have to prove it to me otherwise. But Nick had things to say about the slow start to the offense. So he says it's very important that you don't just look at a bad first drive and then change away the game plan. It's very common for a DC to play something different at first, then settle into what you're doing. The answer isn't always that you get at everything right away. It's like they're still learning. So running with DeAndre Swift less than 10 times in the first half is tolerable? Being pass happy, second, third, and short, throwing a fucking bomb to A.J. Brown downfield just because you feel like it, that's just scheme. That's just tolerable. So that's what we should be okay with it. I hate it. I can't stand it. It's not just he thinks it's just we can't look at it as a bad first drive, and he's literally stuck in his own fucking way. You can't just look at a bad first drive and say that we have to change everything. I mean, you know, we got to keep going at it. Like, dude, you've been going at it for weeks. You had literal games in the second half almost end the same fucking way. More pressure to your offense in the second half. Your defense is getting blasted. Your defense is getting tired by the second quarter. Not only do you need a necessary push from your defense in the second half after they've been tired of not getting upfield and literally wasting downs at this point, but I think, yeah, I can believe this statement because if DeAndre Swift gets a 1-2 yard run, they stay away from it for fucking plays away. If DeAndre Swift gets like an 8-yard run, they'll continue it a little bit. But if they're like, you know what? 1 yard, nah, change plays. We got to pass 3 more times. Like, it's just, there's like easy little things like the Eagles, like, you don't have a successful run game and you're running, like even the 49ers game, it was like play action, play action, play action. You got no run game. Why is play action even happening right now? Play action doesn't work without a run game. Not even using RPOs to slow down these linebackers. These fucking statements, they make no sense, dude. Like, stop being stupid. Stop saying stupid quotes towards the media. And then probably when Nick goes back in his office, he'll be like, oh, I fooled them. Just wait and see. Wait and see what I do next week. Wait and see what the fans see next week. I'm tired of it. And if Nick puts this team in the ground, a 10-3 team he's going to put in the ground, bye. See you later. Rebuild your fucking coaching staff. And Howie Roseman needs to hire new blood. Stop fucking hiring from within. Stop promoting guys because I think that time is over now. It's over. There's nobody on the defensive side of the ball that should be defensive coordinator. There's nobody on the offensive side of the ball that needs to be the offensive coordinator next to Nick. And Howie has to tell Nick, you're not doing anything for this offense but coaching, being a player's coach, and that's it. That is all you're doing. And the front office is going to literally interview different offensive coordinators that are different than what we had That's why Brian DeBall didn't come here. That's why a lot of guys didn't come here, whether they were for offensive coordinators or for head coaching jobs, because of the control that Howie has in the front office, and because of what happened to Howie last time. Okay, that is never going to happen again. But Howie needs to open himself more to other choices that are out there. I don't care if you have to go into the college ranks, which the Eagles actually tried to do last year for defensive coordinator, for Georgia's defensive coordinator, Michigan's defensive coordinator. I don't remember the names on hand, but you know what I'm saying. If this team becomes a one and done, that's just icing on the cake in the playoffs. If they get their ass dismantled by Drew Lock or Geno Smith, which is pretty much likely at this point, because this press conference just told me that they're not doing much of anything. They have so much pride, they're not going to change what they do. I'm sitting here like, can they actually score a touchdown in the first half? Is Jalen Hurts going to sit in the pocket for 10 minutes looking for someone that's wide open? I don't see any quarterback sitting that long in the pocket. I'm not saying all the time, but multiple occasions. It's happened a lot this year. Hurts is sitting there, and these routes are still developing. There's no quick route. There's no hot route. There's no nothing. It's like he's waiting for something to develop, and by the time when someone says, oh, he's wide open, Hurts is getting out of the pocket. And the more times during the game where Hurts has more protection and a little bit of pressure comes his way, he leaves the pocket. And there's times where he misses guys that are open or doesn't see them. This scheme is hurting everybody. Your running backs are starving. DeAndre Swift can have 18 to 25 carries. Your receivers, holy shit, dude. You got your tight end back, and you looked even worse this week against Dallas. This is a Howie Roseman thing that tells Nick, if Nick continues this path and he's a one and done, a big question has to be made. Is Nick willing to let go of his control over who he hires and what scheme he wants? Fuck the scheme he wants. Howie Roseman needs to get new blood, a coordinator that's going to take his own offense. Eric Bieniemy, guys like that, guys that literally are fully down into, Bieniemy in Washington has help, guys like that are fully, I see a guy that's fully just, his homework all week is getting his own game plan together. I want a guy in this building with a good resume that's not only going to get good, production out of your offense, but good production out of your quarterback, and knows route combination, knows how to get guys open, knows his players from the head to the fucking back tail end of every player he knows, through their strengths, through their weaknesses. That's what I want. If Nick is not willing to let go of any of that and just him be a player's coach, and yes, Nick can make adjustments during games. Nick can be like, hey, I think you should start doing this a little bit more, because that's fine. But taking control of the game plan, and why do coordinators even have jobs at this point? What is the point? Desai is obviously a different story because he wants to run the same defense as last year, but the blitz rate is actually better this year, and it just seems worse because this team doesn't know how to blitz. And dude, it's constant. Like, can I be happy one day? Can I get some good news one fucking day this week? Like, just something that's not going to piss me off for like 2 minutes, 2 seconds. Something. My head is fucking killing me because of just the way this has been going at this point. So I don't want to make this another 30-minute video. It just seems like it's like that every single day, and it's just getting annoying at this point. I hope you guys understand. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm reporting what's being reported out there, and I give you my solid opinion on what's going on. And I know the same comments are, Eagle fans are fighting with Eagle fans right now. The fan base is fighting with each other on what we want, what we don't want, who's right, who's wrong. But at the end of the day, we need a change here. And it just seems like Nick is giving this whole thing for another week, another chance. There's still 4 games left to play. I'm wondering how many games they actually fucking win. That's what I wonder. If they're actually going to win these next 4. Very crucial. Very, very, very crucial. So, that's all I got to say. Let me know what you guys think about what Nick said at his press conference. On Desai, on BrianJohnson, and I mean, that quote, his quote on the slow start on the offense, and he's just not giving up on his scheme. He's not giving up on it's going to work. He's like praying that this thing works, and it's not going to. He's praying, oh, it's going to work. It's going to work. I promise. No. I'm pretty much done at this point. I don't know what they're going to do Monday night. Embarrass themselves for a third week straight. Great. Can't wait. But I'm supporting. If I wasn't supporting this team, I wouldn't be on here making a video on it. Because I am trying to get the word out that these fucking guys are in their own way, and these players are suffering because of it. I will blame the coaches before the roster any day of the week, because this is a more of a coaching problem than anything else, and an ownership problem with Howie Roseman as the GM. That's all I gotta say. Guys, have a great day. See you guys on the next one. Shakes up, follow us. Peace out, guys. Peace.